What's really going on? Back again with a very special episode. This reminds me of when Henry and I used to do this two-man. Mackenzie is not here because we're recording on a Saturday. We're going to call this an emergency episode. Before we get into everything, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. That is at TikTok, X, and Instagram at WRGO Pod. Be sure to like, listen, and subscribe wherever you listen or watch podcasts. That includes YouTube. Thank you for all the continued support that you all are giving us across all of our platforms. We recently put up on our story that we have reached the amazing achievement of over 100,000 total streams. So we thank you if you are a new listener or if you are a long-time listener. We appreciate all of the continued support. So Henry, on a Saturday, how are you, my friend?
That's crazy. Right. We committed to it. Um, I'm good in terms of life. Like I'm
Yeah.
blessed. Can't complain. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, the reason why we decided to do this impromptu emergency recording is that there's a lot of news going on, particularly if you have lived under a rock the last week. On Monday, Trump sent basically the National Guard along with members of FBI, DEA, ICE,
Whoever.
ATF, everybody has descended upon DC. For those who actually don't know, because this is important context, this all started after a staffer from the Department of Government Efficiency, formerly more likely known as DOGE. This was the group, the federal government group that Elon Musk once headed up before he left the federal government. A DOGE staffer who is around 19 or 20. I don't know his actual government name, but he was most casually known as quote unquote big balls. Yes, that is correct. He was assaulted in a alleged carjacking that took place. If for those we know, we have a large audience here. Basically, around 14th and U Street at around 3 a.m. on a Saturday. That news then got to Trump, and that has since kind of started. And then 2 days later, he basically announced that he would send the National Guard in. What has happened since is a lot of unfortunate stuff. I have seen the National Guard roll around. I've seen one military basically car rolling around. They set up different stop points throughout the city. Mackenzie let us know this one was it yesterday that basically the White House is basically publicizing the folks who have been arrested of crimes kind of since then, all of which happening to be brown and dark skinned black men. Very nasty stuff. Henry, overall, just what's I think your thought been? I think as someone who you have lived in DC for a long time, I live outside the city of DC and I grew up here. So I know this is personal for both of us, given that this is a city that we both love. Um, Overall, what would you say that like your overall thoughts are on kind of this past week?
Bruh. Like honestly, it seems unreal.
Mhm.
Especially from a lot of the stuff that I've seen like just on social media because again, I'm not in DC anymore full time, but I visit often and I live
Mhm.
there for a decent amount of time. So it's not the DC I knew. It felt like well, actually, when you remember COVID, when they were kind of doing like
Mhm.
checkpoints, like it's like
Yeah,
that, but way more
worse.
intense.
Yeah,
Uh, and it's just honestly disgusting
yeah.
to observe, hear about, know what's going on, see all of this stuff because, like, well, one, that's not the way you combat dealing with crime. Yeah, I don't think any logical person would do that. I do think it's a test to try to like infiltrate on certain places too,
Mhm.
like you kind of said, McKinsey put us on to with the White House posting, uh, lock up black and brown people for like municipal crimes and just continue to like, you know, story.
No, no.
Just
I mean,
I
and I think
can't
that's
like it's just
the
annoying.
yeah, and I think what has frustrated me a lot about I think even just like the national conversation about this is that I think um, Trump, to his credit, is smart in a certain aspect, and that I think the absurdity of this moment I think has actually not been captured to the extent that it should be, because I think and correct me if I'm wrong, America's default and even the political default is, oh, we have to be tough on crime, and oh, look at these dangerous black men who we're now arresting, and everybody kind of quickly is like, okay, we can, we don't want to say that we're not tough on crime. So I will
Mm,
say this. I think people have been very, I can at least speak to like DC and how this is kind of being talked about in the political space. People are making it seem as if this is like a, oh, well, we can't say that we're not tough on. It's like people are trying to, Trump is purposely making this a tough on crime thing, knowing that kind of everybody can get behind being tough on crime and, oh, look at these dangerous black people. That is the way that I have seen the conversation go in terms of like actually not people not understanding just how absurdly racist this is.
but exact.
How,
Thank you. Thank you.
right,
Thank you.
right.
Thank you for
So,
saying
so
that.
that all goes to that. I think people are not treating this like it is. It also doesn't, there's no evidence that says that more police leads to less crime. That's just, there's no empirical evidence that links those two things. Um, all the while, Trump is doing things that will only incentivize crime based on that, what we talked about before we recorded. He's cutting food stamps, he's cutting health care. So more people are now going to be without a social safety net, which means that for them to have any type of economic security, they might have to do it through ways that are illegal or on the fence. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about those things in terms of how what the policies that he's actually doing are actually leading to the thing that he claims that he's against. But oh, he's being tough on crime. So like, I don't know if I can step into this space without just saying this is racist as hell. And I think that to me has just been a very frustrating thing. And I think that no one has just been willing to call this what the hell it really is. I think we treat it like, oh well, I know someone who might have been, mugged at this place in DC. So I don't know. And I
When you
think
say we, who are you referring to?
when I say we, I think I'm not obviously referring to us, but I think from what I've seen in terms of just like the national conversation in certain spaces, even I think, and I'll get into this to a minute, but I think Democrats in Congress's willingness to just loudly be like, this is effed up. I'm not getting down with any of this, even though this is not my city. One, I don't want him doing this to where I reside in. I've seen some people do it where there's been an alleged threat, like New York, Baltimore, Chicago. Those mayors have been very much so out there saying hell no because they know that this is a threat to them. But I do think that collectively, the party and Democratic leaders in general need to call this for what it is and stand on that. And I think that there's been a hesitancy to not do that. Why is that? I don't exactly know, but I can presume. And I just think it's like, call this for what it is. It's petty, it's racist, it's not actually, it's performative, but okay, he's trying to say that he's tough on crime, but this is the exact opposite of that.
I have like several thoughts, but one, the
Mm-hmm.
main thing that keeps pinging into my head is all the like mayors and well, you like let's say Newsom, he's
Mm-hmm.
very much like calling Trump out on what
Yeah.
he's
Mm-hmm.
doing. And then how you mentioned Baltimore's mayor or Westmore,
Yeah.
Governor Westmore, that was either the governor of New York. I think that's where it becomes all conflated a little bit with like all the stuff that's going on
Mm-hmm.
because again, Democrats are having to put out like their own fires and separate
Yeah.
fires because there is no like overarching ideal of what the Democrats stand on, or at least sometimes it gets confusing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would agree.
because to your point of what you reference, how we were speaking before the podcast, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we will speak to like the mayor of DC, like she's not for this, and I'm not gonna say like her idea of crime is the same as Trump's or like
Mm-hmm. No.
she's did she bring more police into the city or did she over police DC or whatnot? Like, could she have been tougher on crime or done certain initiatives to kind of, you know,
And to be fair to
level out
her,
the playing field
crime is at a low. Like like
compared to other
compared to
years?
previous years, right? Like
Right.
yeah.
So
So
for
like
me, that's
this is
when it
not like a
becomes
national. This is not like a problem like on a large
right,
scale. Worth
right.
this.
So that's
Yeah,
when
that's
it
to be clear.
becomes what you said with like people not calling it out or they not calling it out, whatnot. I feel like people are willing to speak up more
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
And I think that that's the problem in all of this in terms of why we in this situation to begin with. Democrats like to play like by the secret white or black book or rule book that, nice politics type of thing.
Hmm.
And we've seen that this man kind of, Gavin Newsom said it in his like little, he did an
Hmm.
interview or something yesterday
Yeah,
or
he did. Yeah.
sometime this week. But point where he was basically saying we have to stop playing this safe game
Yeah,
because
I agree.
this man is
Yeah.
not playing it safe. There are no rules, so we have to switch
Yeah.
up the playbook and we have to
Yeah.
get aggressive. So I think a lot more Democrats are maybe slowly getting to that like push. Because let's say even Obama and how he's like he was like, "Don't put me in this for a
Yeah.
long time."
Yeah.
Now he's slowly starting to see like, okay, they need some direction, and he's starting to speak out more and show his opinion. So I think that's really what I don't know what the like when they get in the secret little board meetings and
Yeah.
talk,
Yeah. Right. The
and
back
that
room.
they really need to like figure out messaging and strategy and tactics. And I think that's where, how you said, Congress isn't fully together. That's where it gets crazy, not crazy, but that's where it
No, it
looks
is. Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It is
okay,
crazy.
they're not doing anything. But then you do have like certain percentage
Certain ones. Yeah.
like consistently
Hmm.
pushing the charge. So and that's the like crux of America, to be honest. We always have to push the charge, especially because I think the Obama era allowed us to become way comfortable and think, oh, we had a foot in the game, but the whole time Republicans were doing what they just did in Texas, rigging the game. They
Yeah.
were figuring out ways to beat the system so they can always stay ahead. This is like the first time in how many they've never had this full amount of control in the government power, or is like that a not fact?
Um, it's very rare to have the type of power that they have right now. And the reason why they're doing so what Henry is mentioning is that in Texas they're actually gonna basically gerrymander. They're gonna change up their
They
state. They're
tried,
gonna
it didn't get voted in.
well, they're gonna try again.
I know.
They're gonna try again. So basically Texas is gonna redraw its congressional lines to basically add more Republican seats because they know that probably in the midterms they're gonna have a hard time. And they did this just because Trump said that he wanted it. So what Henry's referencing from Gavin Newsom is that if Texas does it, California is going to have a vote to do it themselves too, to level it out. But then that will inspire probably other Republican states to say, all right, well, we're now going to pick it up and change our lines. So now we're going to have more Republican seats where we'll cut out a couple of Democrats. But um, to your point, Henry, I think that there are some people who are like Gavin Newsom. I think the governor of Illinois, Wes Moore, the mayor of Baltimore. I think some people are very much so being very upfront and aggressive about this, partly because I think they know that they're the most at risk to something like this. Um, I also think, and this is just like what we've talked about like the whole time, I think it's also like a general frustration that I think like the 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 glass has been broken. Like now is the time to just hunker down, make noise, and fight. And but everybody needs to do it. It can't just be a I'm the most at risk, so I'm going to fight. Like even if you're not at risk about this, you still, to me, what are you in politics for if you don't view this moment and these crazy things that are happening, irrespective of like just this DC thing? There have been so many other things that have been happening that I think demand our politicians more than anything to hunker down, fight, and not just fight in terms of like, oh, I'm going to stand against this, but it also means like this moment you're in public service, public service. Right now, this moment requires you, I think, to give something of yourself. And what is the point of being in public service if you are not willing to actually sacrifice? The Democrats in Texas are doing that. They said, we're just getting out of here to our own personal cause. And I think more people need to actually think about ways to actually do that. Because
And
I think we're going to look back on this moment 20 years from now. And I think we're going to get to the point where we're going to be like, how did we not make more noise about this stuff? Like the glass, like this is the crazy stuff. Like it can get no worse than this. And it sounds like very existential, but like at a certain point we have to realize like there's just no turning back. Well, to your point, we're in a different game and we keep playing these same tactics and we keep questioning why stuff isn't working. And it's like, no, the rule, to your point, you just said it, the rule book has changed and we're still using the same play. And whether that means we got to be loud, hold up stuff, stop stuff from happening, make a bunch of damn noise, we got to do that now. And I think there's that to your point, that hesitancy is I think becoming more frustrating for me, and I'm losing patience with it. In that the
So
crazy
let's
shit
do
is
it though.
today.
One, you're losing patience of, but like main point I want to like hit. I
Mm-hmm.
don't disagree with anything you said. Like, yes, they
Yeah.
need to be making more noise. They need to be aggressive. They need to like not do the same old tactics we know they've done. The and but is like one to what you just said. A lot of people won't like put their own skin in the game until they have to. So a lot of places, how you also said, the places or the mayors or leaders of the cities of mayors and places that are most likely to be affected have been the most boisterous is because like most people aren't going to like one try to combat this man because they scared a little scared of him because
Mm-hmm.
he just be doing
Yeah.
anything.
And it's like, why would I create a problem that's not on my doorstep?
So I think that's the scare. And now I'm not giving
No,
them
no, you're
to
playing fair.
back
I understand.
down. I'm
Yeah,
not saying that at all.
yeah.
I am just attempting to like step back and like be on a bird's eye view or something. Because like that's the hard part about attempting to be in a public servant position because you do have to be willing to like risk it all sometimes, especially when it comes to like your constituents protecting them their rights and freedom.
I totally agree.
And
It's a
it's like,
delicate game. It's a
yeah, and
delicate
that's
game.
where it's like I'm not at all excusing them. And I do
No,
think
I
and
know you're
it
not.
should
Yeah.
have been more noise. Like, how did we even get here?
Yeah,
The problem, not
yeah.
like the real problem, like it's gonna sound like some hotel stuff, is like they've rigged the game, bro. Like they have been like just doing unethical things that have gotten them to where they are, which in case if like again, Democrats for like we didn't just get here. This was like a slow buildup. And I think that's
This has
where
been happening since 2016.
before
No,
then,
I agree. I
when
agree. Yeah,
Obama hit that office
yeah.
in 2008.
And Republicans said, "Forget this. We're
They
taking yeah,
started
wilding, wilding."
strategizing crazy.
Yeah.
The people that
And
sponsored that
and and
bill.
and can
And
I
I
ask
think
you
that's where,
a question?
go ahead.
Um, what does that look like for the stuff that we care about? And I think that's I think the new question that we have to ask now is like,
That
what does that quote unquote radical agenda and strategy look like for us? Because I think we have not seen that in terms of Republicans say we're gonna do this crazy shit, we don't even care, and we're gonna do this, and this. What does that look like for us?
okay, so
What
I
does that
think
policy agenda
I
look like?
think
What
this
steps are we willing to take to when we do
where
have
the
power?
business of politics, and you would probably likely know this more than me, but just again, stepping out
Mm-hmm.
perspective, the business of politics really come to play because how many lobbyists and people are putting funding behind the stuff we care about?
There's a discrepancy.
So that then answers your question, sir, because that's
Yes
how
and no.
That's
Yes
how
and no.
that's how that's how that's what Project 2025 was. The Heritage Foundation was a like that was a this
Yeah,
private
yeah, yeah.
entity
You're right.
that
What I would
really invested into those ideas and the belief of that project and then slowly started introducing it to these Congress people that maybe have a similar rationale and then it becomes a business trade out. Oh, if you sponsor this bill in your state or Congress or wherever, then I'll give you funding for this or we can do this or whatever.
and what I would then say is that we need like um increasingly, just given how politics is like kind of just being influenced more by culture, like money is very important, but it's not everything that it once was. Um,
Do you
Kamala
not
had
understand we live in America, the
no,
capitalistic society of the world? What are you talking
I'm
about?
agreeing with you, but I'm watch me. I'm promise you I'm gonna tie it all together. Kamala spent more money than Trump, but
They are.
Cuomo spent a lot more money than Mom Donnie. It's about your ability to connect with people and connect with the culture. However, these forces that you're talking about are there. But to your point, there has to be an investment in other ways. And just because you are outspent in these other different fashions does not mean that the money that you do have, it just has to be spent more effectively. It has to be spent actually engaging with people on the ground in a different way. Like, yes, businesses overspend in terms of their outside influence in politics. Money in politics is a huge thing, given just how now more than ever politics and the culture are becoming kind of more intertwined. And we're not in 2008 anymore. Like knocking door, Kamala knocked on every damn door that there was, and she still lost. So like there are other factors that are play into engaging in political engagement now. But you are correct. Like
Well,
there is a
okay, like
money in
real
politics.
question though, like on
Yeah.
some like just
Mm-hmm.
do you think Trump won the seat fair? Like without them again rigging the system?
I don't think he had to rig the election to win. I think there are other factors that played into it that we are
I
just
just like let's say
that you
like
and I know exist.
Pennsylvania, for instance, or well, yeah,
No,
Pennsylvania, for
I'm
instance.
ex- I'm accepting.
That's notoriously been a purple state, right?
I'm very much so accepting that Trump won. And however,
Well,
the
call me a
reason
whole time, bro. Call me a whole
I'm
time
not going to call you
because
that, but
I feel they like especially with how I know for that was Cobb County in Georgia when they were counting the votes or something that night. It was like a ruling earlier on in the week or somewhere
I mean,
that
granted, I mean,
kind
if
of
there's
like it
if there's
manipulated votes to where some votes weren't counted and stuff like that. So like I'm like I don't care. They rigged it. It was proven the first time and then he finessed the Supreme Court to protect him that time. And this time they probably are still investigating because I just don't believe like America is dumb.
and
It's
that's
it's,
and
it's no,
that's what I'm
America is
going to bat
definitely
on.
no, okay. America is dumb, but then and this may be seen far stretched, but tell me if my logic is just that delusional or what. But let's say we watch shows like Love Island, and everybody loves the couples and all of this stuff. That's a very or the past two seasons that have been very popular that has made Love Island a big thing that it is the past two seasons have been more diverse than not. Now, unless people are really that just insanely hateful, because to your point, culture and politics becoming more
Yes, your
intertwined.
answer is yes. Your answer is yes.
But
Your answer is yes.
I just
And rather here's but then again here's where I think this all goes like astray is that when we do polling and when we talk about politics, people are going to say the economy is my biggest issue, but then they're going to vote for Trump who does tariffs. What the polling is not then doing is putting two things that are going against each other and making them like flush those thoughts out. So you think Trump handles the economy better. What do you think about him doing this? Something else is dragging them in. And we have yet to like fully actually unpack what those things are. During the election, the only thing that he really talked about was rounding people up and getting political vengeance.
no,
But like,
it's racism that brings them there. I don't
yeah,
disagree with
so
that.
like,
And that's why
why
I
are
was
we
like, maybe
even?
I'm just a little delusional to think we have maybe
No, I
progressed a
think
little bit.
no, I think America is still dealing with white supremacy, and this is the key part of it. It does not. You do not have to be white to be in the throes of white supremacy. The black people are
100%
impacted by white
agree.
supremacy, and black men voted for Trump more because of white supremacy. Hispanics voted for Trump because of, like white supremacy is the ecosystem that does not just impact white people. Like
Um,
other minorities and other folks can also play into that space as well
um,
because there's a default to whiteness, and I'm
but
going to go with that as the reason why.
so
We
you
we don't
think that the
we don't have much time,
conversation
but
around
keep going.
him, no, I'm about to say, if you think that the conversation around him bringing the troops and all the agents to DC, people are like literally like attempting to like cover their eyes to is blatantly racist.
How many times have you heard somebody say that?
I
It's been
mean,
what?
Newsom, you said
One
what?
person? One person?
If I could like flip you off right now.
No, once again, that's
No,
just
like I get you, but I'm gonna just stand on the argument. I mean, not argument, but the
no.
stance I made
And I
earlier.
hear your argument. I hear it.
Uh,
I fully understand it.
like yeah, like I feel like they're slowly starting to round up the troops. That's all I have for you. Now, like white supremacy, just is the reign of America. America, it's just there, bro. So with that being the case, it's just. I and maybe this comes from a very somewhat maybe privileged mindset, but I presume that we're more informed than not than we used to be. So for me, in like the sense of that cap, it just makes me would think like, okay, we maybe have gotten a little bit further so we can all rationalize like their skin in the game. So like he would yeah, pro economy, blah blah blah, but like this abortion, so that affects women largely, and then certain like they about to try to appeal gay rights marriage at the Supreme Court. Then they overturn. Oh well, I just says the abortion stuff. And then like government funding. So how you were saying how we talked about earlier, where he's cutting funding from all of these like agencies that trickle down to like
Helping
impoverished
people,
right, impoverished
helping people.
neighborhoods and so on and so forth. So it just in my mind it makes sense that people would know that hey, this man is attacking everybody, not just like so it's just like
And
America is
then
actually that dumb, bro.
and because then I think it's like, like I'm not even like, okay, yeah, sure. Like America is very misinformed. But then like once again, are we doing enough questioning and enough research and enough psychology at this point to actually question where there's discrepancies in those things? If you are on Medicaid in the rural South or Medicaid in a rural place in general, and how are you interpreting this? And I think that's the thing that personally I cannot understand. One, just because I think as someone who's interested in politics, I'm forced to try to understand these things. But it's also like if you are a if you're not necessarily getting political news on the regular, um, what are you understanding about these things? How is your engagement about these things, and where are you and then interpreting it? Because I honestly cannot make sense of it, but I also think it requires us to ask different questions of people. And I think what we need to do from just a polling understanding, from an understanding of society, is question not only just have people answer a direct question, but then ask a question based on their response in terms of you are someone who identifies as Hispanic and Latino, and you are supporting Trump. Do you not see yourself as a part of his roundups and ICE? Help me understand that. We're not. I would love to unpack that. Like, obviously, I think Hispanics don't necessarily see themselves as the ethnic group that Black people do. But however, what ICE is doing is rounding up everybody. So you have an understanding that you feel like you're outside of this, but you're actually not. And the person that you're supporting doesn't see you outside of this. He doesn't care. And it's like,
That's the real problem.
and
Every
but I think we need to try to understand that. And I think like because
so
I can't make sense of it.
that's like a whole nuanced, deep conversation because everybody wants to absolve themselves from the problem.
We can't afford to do that anymore.
And that again, I think that's where if we just take a step back, observe history, economy, culture, all the things that have like
Mm-hmm.
transcended in America and evolved over time. There, I'm just speaking from the black standpoint, but like after the 60s and like the era of civil rights, there had I per but like there was no active continued push forward to keep like protecting
It just got fragmented. It
exactly.
wasn't in like a national MLK type leader,
And
Roosevelt. It got
that
fragmented.
that for me, then there lies the problem. Like, and maybe this then goes into what we were speaking about. And I'm gonna always reference this book, Black Men in the White House. That book kind of maybe leads into some of the same ideology, but to the point of maybe Republicans and the strategists and the lobbyists and all the people that believe in the ideology of America and protecting it for what it was, they were maybe likely more vested into protecting that ideology. So they were coming up with ways to do that while we, but, and I'm only again speaking from the
Mhm.
black stance, but then appropriating that same stance to other subgroups that again get affected by what Trump is now doing, or how again a lot of the Republican leadership and legislation has attacked a lot of different people in those same segments. So it's just like black people became a little bit, stagnant, comfortable. Oh, we have more access, we're protected, blah, 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 blah. And now you get into the 90s was when niggas still had a little access and money. Yeah, but when you hit the 2000s, it becomes like very black elitism.
Mhm.
You got money or you don't have money. And then I think as again times go on and you maybe get to the 2010s, and like that's where social media has evolved and nobody's poor, everybody is rich. And so like you just have these honestly just delusional ideas of what certain things actually are. So it becomes
Which I
okay,
think plays to
you
your
had
point. That's a big factor in this. Social media is a huge factor in now politics, and I think you just hit a very we could spend 40 minutes just on that.
but yeah, I think all of that plays a part into how we got here. Uh
Mhm.
it's just I'm gonna say what I said earlier. I'm not gonna point the finger at us all the way
No,
because when you
you
say
can't.
like our leaders got taken out for the most part.
Yes, 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 and no. I think it's like, um, I think and once again, it's all trade-offs, right? So it's like, um, I think obviously we don't have like that one national figure, like we did in earlier times in like the mid 20th century, like those MLKs, those like, those one person, two person named leaders. I think the movement to freedom and extending our rights as Black people has been more fragmented in ways that I think are actually better in that the ideology doesn't just stop with one person. The ideology is within all of us, which I think empowers us in a different space. So it's like it's different in that we don't have like that one person who's now in charge of it, and then if something happens to them, or if they're not the leader we thought they were, now we're just in the middle of nowhere. I think it's now more so incumbent upon all of us to be that type of person within our own community and collectively push our leaders to do so. And I
That
think if anything, I think in a lot of cases, and I think this is me being honest, like I think like on this podcast, we always love when we have more people who look like us in politics. However, I think if I'm being honest with myself, I think it's like we need to push those people who look like us, who claim that they're doing it for reasons that support us. We need to like, especially like not to say in politics, we only have to push our people hard, but however, you seem to be the person who most understands our dynamic. And you need to fight like hell for that. You claim that you are for us and you claim that you are doing these things. It's the unfortunate reality that I have to put more pressure on you because I have the understanding that these other people who don't look like you, they don't understand my reality. I'd like to think that you do, and which is why I'm going to push you to not acquiesce to these systems that are greater than all of us. But I really need you to push on these things. I really need you to not back down. I really need you to fight like hell for us. And in some cases, not like all the time, but in some cases, I think we get so happy when a Black person gets into political office and then we don't actually try to say, hey, what are they actually doing for us? In DC, we have a much higher unemployment rate for Black people than for whites. What is Muriel Bowser doing about that? We have the lowest high school graduation rate with a public school that largely has Black children. That's not to say that this is her problem alone, but however, this is why you're in public office and you need to be held to account to these things. I'm going to hold you to the same account that I would someone else. And that's how this has to work. And I think like my just sense of, I think, political accountability now, I'm especially holding people who look like me, who talk the right game more. I'm just holding them to a lot of a higher standard right now. Because I think if anything, this is all of our problem. And I think if anything, I need to know that the people who look like me, who talk it at the right moments, are actually walking that walk. The mayor of Baltimore is someone who is doing that right now. He is
So that's
actually,
where I was
yeah.
about to like. So when
And
you
it's tough. It's tough. It is tough because I
because
don't
to
want to
your
get on here
point though,
and
let's
dunk on
say
black people.
again, I said this earlier. Let's say
Hmm.
Mayor Bowser mural, that lady, DC mayor
Yeah, Muriel Fall.
Mario, yeah, her. No disrespect, no shade,
No.
but maybe her focus and agenda was what she's done: develop DC and grow it to a certain affluence or class to where it
Hmm.
reflects the type of DC she maybe believes in. So if locking young black boys up a little bit more or not
I don't
giving
think it. I mean, the
this
funny
to
thing
be
is
a
that
direct focus of hers, I am mad at that Henry Woods, and that
yeah,
then becomes why are you not on the city council, Noah, or why aren't you pushing your friends to get in these
I
spaces,
agree.
then challenge the ideology? And I'm not saying
Hmm.
this is factually true 100% of how she thinks. I'm just giving like a scenario type of situation to where that's what it really becomes. To where you said our focus as Black people, like the ideologies of a MLK or a John
Hmm.
Lewis or all our great leaders during that time period, they have now been, just flustered, not flustered, but like they've been
Yeah.
pushed into all of us, right? So to some degree, if I believe in this, I then should go continue, especially now that they're like taking books away and like making certain
Yeah.
education a certain way. Like I'm building up my Black Library because I need my kid to understand and my nieces and nephew to understand certain things that they are not being taught in the American school, public school system,
Hmm.
especially. So if we see the gaps, we have to jump in and fill them. And that's
Yeah.
where, like, for me, I'm attempting to push myself off the ledge there because I'm going to volunteer for Keisha Bottoms' campaign because I feel
Hmm.
like that's where it is my job and it is my
Yeah.
duty. And see these things happening, and to my main point, that Black leader that's in this space maybe doesn't all the way see the vision I see, or have my
Hmm.
beliefs or whatnot. So again, it then becomes me championing something
And
so
pushing
that
them. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
holding them
Yeah.
more accountable to your
Yeah.
point. So like we are the new adults. We love to say that, right? So it's now our time. John Lewis was like 21 when they was on that bridge. Hosea
Stepping.
Williams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like because and that goes to how you were saying Congress isn't coming all together because certain persons we aren't as directly affected or going through the harness stuff they were going through at the time. So they had to be foot on necks. But again, we became a little bit complacent. We got a little bit comfortable. They not knocking like they not putting dogs on us literally unless they doing what they just again DC because I'm scared of that. But they are finding ways to cut funding from public schools, and they are finding
Yeah.
ways to do what they're doing in DC. Lock us up, so it's now harder for you to get a job. You're now locked up in this system. They found different ways to imitate the same stuff, keep
Yeah.
us behind. So I'm not like again, it's on us, me,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everybody who listens to this podcast for real. And that's really how I feel about it. I like let's
No.
say again, remember that episode we had about the NAACP, right? And I'm only again
Yeah. Yeah.
doing this to be like,
We'll dunk on them again. Come on, let's do it. Circle
but
back.
what I'm saying is,
But no, you're about to hit. I already know what you're going to say. You're about to hit
I
on
don't,
something very important.
I like they do stuff, yes, but do I see that like again,
Are they
third,
doing what this moment requires?
right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We really need to be like
And
octopus. Our hands
and
need to be in every pot dealing with protecting us as Black people, our equity in this company.
and
I
the
mean,
funny thing
a
is,
company, it is a company. It's America.
it's a business. It's a business. And the funny thing is, I like how we just started talking about this, and now it's just like a full blown conversation that you and I
Bro,
are actually
because
having
we
on the phone.
would,
Yeah, we've been
it's
dying.
making sense though. You
Yeah.
just gotta listen.
The interesting thing, and I love that you said that, is that I think it's like we have to have multiple tentacles working all in the same direction, all for the same purpose, all at once. And to your point, right now, it's just not. And I think that then is like It's lacking in the political space. I think even more so now frequently. And this is something that like I've even like thought about writing about in the music context. Because historically, like Black music has been representative of the struggle and or different struggles that we faced at the time. You go from like Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On," you go from raps, certain types of rap music in the '90s, certain types of rap music in selectively in the 2000s. Um,
You know,
there's no song that I think or artist that is kind of encapsulating this, even though they might not necessarily want to be political, but just this moment of this is all so effed up. My only response is just to detach myself. And I think there's nobody anchoring the culture to say, here's the thing that we need to focus on, even if it's just us speaking the truth. This is all so overwhelming that I just got to step back right now. And I think no artist is, I'm very disappointed actually that like no artist is taking what our music has historically done and go there. And to be like, this is the problem that I see. No athlete is taking that stand right now and saying, this is effed up. And
nobody
hey,
wants to put their own skin in the game to
but that's a
directly affect
problem.
them,
And I
and
think
that
it's
is the
like
problem.
so right. And I think it's also like even thinking through ways to be like Braun, Steph Curry, dude who just won the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts. This is happening to our people, and you have a platform, and you're gonna be okay. Speak for our people. And granted, I hate to put that on you, but that's also the role that you seem to want me
That
on
it's not a
in
hate, because
certain aspects.
that's where again the difference in people and the difference in, like, again, just life, a kind of whatever.
Everybody is collectively choosing comfort, and we're going to get 5 years from now and realize why this got that way. And but everybody chose, and
Exactly.
in the individual sense, I get it. In the individual sense, if you're just struggling to keep ends meet, I get that, bro. I get that, sister. But if you are someone who has the comfortability and the privilege, and to your point, that includes us too. So like we have our own work to do, you and I. Because and that's why we have a podcast. That's why we try to help people get informed, but also like you and I individually need to do more. We've talked about that. But also if you are someone of a certain economic status, if you are someone who has a certain platform, you are only doing us and yourself collectively a disservice. If you are not focusing everybody on, hey y'all, these things are impacting our people right now. And I know that this ain't what y'all know me for, but I'm gonna talk about it anyway. And nobody seems free enough to kind of take that step right now. Largely because I think the kind of understanding of our culture is we're all just kind of like F this, I'm just gonna fall back. But the unfortunate reality is when we fall back, we're the ones who just get hurt the most. And I
And
think everybody needs to be like, if anything, and this is why I said like people just need to start yelling, like get in there and just take up space and make noise. Because right now, I don't think we're making enough.
I don't
And
disagree
like,
with you. If you're
yeah,
not doing what Jasmine Crockett doing, you're not doing enough.
you're not doing enough. And I
Um,
even think like, like I said, like even actors and movie stars, like if you are a black person and you are even understanding of what is going on, you don't think it's your responsibility to either be a voice or try to anchor the culture to a certain thing right now. Um, I just don't know. I don't.
but I will. I'm not pushing back because I agree
No,
wholeheartedly.
it's tough. It's tough. I understand. It's very
When
tough
you
right
think
now.
about the Marvin Gayes or the Aretha Franklins, or the Muhammad Ali, or
Yeah.
those
We're in a very different
figures,
cultural space right now. Very different
right?
cultural space right now.
They understood that I am a part of them,
Hmm.
and this affects me in inadvertently because
Or I'm just as impacted as the bra on the street.
exactly. So they just, like, they understood it more. I think, again, with all the evolution that we just kind of dissected, everybody is focused on them and it has become this individualistic, like, well, I'm gonna let y'all
I'm
handle.
good.
I'm gonna focus on me and my family to make sure we're good. But because to that same point, a lot of us have kind of been consumed with that ideology to where now
Hmm.
it's like, oh, snap, dang, okay, wait a second here.
What happened?
I got to do this and this. You can't just do, and that's just the unfortunate truth of being a black person in America.
Yeah.
You, especially a prime time black person who has the money, affluence, legacy, connections, whatever platform, to stand up and make a difference and make an impact and influence people to keep fighting or encourage people to fight. against the system that has been
Mhm.
embedded, uh, like that unfortunately is your duty and task as a black
It just,
person.
and it just has to be. It just, yeah, to your
That's
point.
just the truth of the matter.
Yeah, it just has to be.
It becomes like, yeah, they don't, a lot of us don't want to be comfortable, but to kind of segment it back to the bigger plots, the stuff that's going on in like DC is like crazy. I really, really hope that this lawsuit that the Attorney General has brought forth does something and it is an expedited case because I don't want this to be like a trial error type of thing. I also think he is uh attempting to provoke us as especially us black people because
Yeah.
we are notoriously known for protesting and fighting for our rights and so on and so forth. Uh he's attempting to provoke us to get to that point to where they then can implement martial law and then really get crazy and really start doing crazy stuff, which I think that becomes like black people really have to be smart and strategic. We have to like
Mhm.
we can't be too reactive. I was watching this video last night of like they was in Southeast DC and they just coming through there being aggressive.
Yeah, I saw that video too.
Locked the homeboy up and like one of the younger, you could tell he was like on the younger side of the younger black boys. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
no, he was just young. He's a young guy. He's a young adult.
And he was
Young
being
adult.
just erratic and cussing the police out, but the guy that was behind the camera maybe was like on the like 19 side versus the 15,
He was
16.
like, back up. Yeah, get away from him.
Yeah,
Back
he
up.
was like being like, bro, they're gonna lock you up, calm down, we recording it, like understanding the gravity of the situation. And that we need people like that to be in those, there to mitigate the situation and be a mediator because if we don't, we're gonna see the worst of the worst times happen to the point of never even be we're gonna be in this fight for not just 50, 40, but 100, 300, 4 more years
Mhm.
because again, what they doing in Texas, how they gerrymander. I and say put some skin in the game. I really appreciate the Democrats leaving and
Yeah.
not being able to come to a voting decorum to where they can pass this bill, and he can only do it one more time before it gets thrown out. So like
Hmm.
I need them to keep that push up. I appreciate Obama for speaking to Texas Democrats about it.
Hmm.
And I think that we just need that more strategic push.
Yeah.
Uh,
To your
but
point, it's them not playing the game.
yeah, like right.
It's like the game is rigged. I
I
just
know
won't
I
play.
done brought
Yeah.
Newsom up so
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
But I need more of y'all like that for sure. And the unfortunate, I ain't gonna say that, but yeah, I need more of y'all. I need more than a step up. We just in the time like if they rig they're not finna rig Texas. Hopefully, pray God please. But Chicago, Illinois, and New York, y'all better start drawing the maps.
I
Y'all
agree.
better start redrawing the maps. Because if
Yeah.
they do that, what's up? We can beat body. You know what I'm saying? So they like
If you want to
Democrats.
get
I
crazy, we
need
can
y'all
get
to
crazy.
get real. Like y'all, if they
Yeah.
not playing fair, go on and not play fair and do what we
Yeah.
gotta do because Newsom was saying they are serious about that 2028 stuff, which I ain't even got time for that, bro. I'm
Good
already
deal.
looking at citizenship somewhere else. I'm going to my homelands.
We'll deal with that at another time. Well, I think we've taken this. This became a conversation that, of course, Henry and I just started talking about a bunch of different things. But I think this will certainly not be the last time that we talk about these issues. And I think I'll just echo what Henry said because I think it's like the most important thing is that I think we all individually have a role in trying to fight this stuff. If you're unhappy about what you're seeing, there probably certainly a lot of organizations that you can support, legal organizations locally that are doing a lot of good work to inform people, help get people out of jail for that have been put there for unjust reasons. There are elected officials that you can call, email, contact. Someone is tracking that. Someone is taking account of every single person who reaches out to their office about a certain thing. Um, there's always something that we can do, whether even if it's just putting something like this podcast in your group chat or an article saying, hey, did y'all see this? Um, we all have an individual role to play, and there's big stuff that needs to be done, but there's also little things that collectively that we all need to do. And a part of it is just informing people. So I would encourage you to not only like, this is bigger than just our podcast, share our stuff, share other news articles that you see, share stuff, always put stuff on your Instagram story or repost stuff on Twitter. Get political news out to people. And I think that is the biggest thing that like we as a community can do right now is just spread word. There's not enough people actually know what's actually happening. And that's part of the reason why Henry came up with the idea for us to call this podcast What's Really Going On. And you can follow that podcast on all social media. That's what we call a professional transition. You can follow all of our social media at WRGO Pod. Be sure to like, listen, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube, where you can watch all of our videos and shorts of our episodes and clips. We want to especially bring you to our latest episode, which includes the Pennsylvania Speaker of the House, Joanna McClinton. And we have another special guest coming up that we are recording next week. We thank you all.